Discover the incredible and touching journey of a eunuch, a life-changing tale of hidden transformation. In the small Midwestern town of Cedar Grove, a soft rain fell, as if the sky was washing away years of heartache. Alex stood at the old bus station, his heart pounding like a drum, drowning in a sea of emotions. He was vibrant and gentle, yet he carried the frail remnants of rejection since the day he embraced his identity as a eunuch. Being back felt like a double-edged sword, slicing through the air between him and his tough-as-nails father, a man forged by the flames of Vietnam, who never understood who Alex really was. He took a deep breath. Together, they could heal the wounds of the past, or they could remain in the shadow of their unspoken despair. As he stepped inside his childhood home, the scent of pine and memories flooded his senses, wrapping him in nostalgia. His mother, with tender eyes, embraced him, whispering words of support that felt like warm sunlight breaking through dark clouds. Nothing had changed. The family table was still set for Sunday dinners, laughter echoing off the walls. Yet, an invisible barrier loomed, a chasm created by years of silence. The town was struggling, businesses closing like flowers wilting under a relentless drought. But amidst the hardship, hope flickered like a candle flame. Alex had taken a leap of faith and decided to open a wellness clinic, offering alternative healing methods. "It's what I'm meant to do," he thought, harnessing his unique gift to heal. Yet, he was met with skepticism. Many neighbors believed only in traditional medicine, firmly rooted in their ways. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The community fair arrived, a day of vibrant colors and warm smiles. But under the surface, tension simmered. As laughter filled the air, a crisis struck. A beloved local child fell gravely ill, and panic spread like wildfire. Families gathered, whispering heated debates over what to do: call the doctor or trust Alex's alternative remedies. The stakes couldn't be higher. In that moment of chaos, Alex felt fear wrap around his throat. Would he stand up and fight for what he believed in, or would he let the tide of tradition drown him? He stepped forward, shaking but resolute. "I can help," he voiced, his heart pounding in resonance with the crowd's anxious murmurs. As he worked, an electric emotion surged through him, galvanizing his spirit. In those seconds of uncertainty, the small town of Cedar Grove wrestled with its identity. Who were they as a community, divided by epistemologies and emotions? As he reached the child, Alex's own internal battles raged on. Could he bridge the distance with his father, earn the respect of the townsfolk, and discover his own worth while doing so? The answer lingered just out of reach, and as the crowd watched breathlessly, everything was about to change. As Alex knelt beside the child, his hands trembling slightly but steady with determination, he felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The little boy lay pale and still, his mother crying softly at his side. All eyes were on Alex, a mix of hope and skepticism swimming in their gazes. Would he succeed or fail in the eyes of the town that had always viewed him as an outsider? "Please, just give me a moment," Alex whispered softly, breathing deeply. He focused on the child's energy, sensing the fragile life force flickering like a candle in the wind. He recalled the teachings he'd absorbed from kind mentors and lost in books during his isolation. The art of healing required not just knowledge but a connection to the spirit within. He closed his eyes and extended his hands above the boy, feeling the buzz of potential. Around him, murmurs rose. "What is he doing? Should we call a doctor?" echoed in the crowd. But amidst the anxiety, Alex's heart surged with an electric hope. He pictured the boy smiling, playing, laughing in the sunshine. That image filled him with strength. "You can fight this," he whispered softly to the child. "I believe in you." Moments stretched into eternity. The damp air was thick with uncertainty, and Alex felt the tension crest like a wave. With each breath, he infused the space around him with warmth. He visualized healing energy flowing through him into the boy. He opened his eyes to meet the worried gaze of the mother. She was a mirror of every fear he had ever experienced. Then, just as doubt began to take root in the back of his mind, he heard a soft gasp. The child's eyelids fluttered open. Hope sparked in the crowd. A buoyant breath held in unison. "Mom," the boy murmured, his voice weak but clear. Laughter erupted from the gathered crowd, a sound of relief that washed over Cedar Grove like a gentle rain. Yet just as quickly, skepticism returned to some faces. Luck. Just a coincidence. Someone shouted from the back, and the laughter turned to nervous chuckles. Ignoring the ripple of doubt, Alex focused on the mother, whose tears were now tears of joy. "He just needs rest," Alex asserted, his voice steady, a newfound confidence carving its way through him. "He'll be okay." As the mother clasped her son tightly, Alex saw in that moment a bridge he could build, a connection to his community. Yet, in the midst of that joy, there was still a dark shadow looming. The cold eyes of his father, watching from the sidelines. The man had not moved an inch since the chaos had unfolded, his silence heavier than the clouds above. Feeling drained but exhilarated, Alex dared a glance in his father's direction. The hard lines on his father's face were sharp and unforgiving, but for a fleeting moment, there was something softer there. Was it pride? Confusion? Alex couldn't tell, but that flicker ignited something within him, a spark of rebellion against years of trying to seek validation. But then he felt it, a sharp pang in his gut, the familiar ache of anxiety creeping back. What if this moment turned into a battle? What if his father chose to remain anchored in the past, refusing to see the man Alex had become? As the crowd celebrated the boy's revival, Alex lingered in that moment with all its sweetness and bittersweetness. Healing was not just about medicine, it was about acceptance, about understanding, and about love. Could his father overcome his own demons, just like the boy had faced his fears? As Alex stood tall among the townsfolk, he knew the real fight was yet to come, a battle against stigma, against fear, and most importantly, within his own heart. The stage was set for the next act in Cedar Grove, a road neither he nor the town had dared to tread before, but could they all find the courage to embrace the change together? Would his father finally take that first step towards acceptance? The echoes of laughter hung in the air, softening the weight of uncertainty, as Alex contemplated the horizon. The future awaited, and he was ready to meet it one heartbeat at a time. The air was thick with a mix of laughter and cautious whispers. Alex could still feel the warmth of the boy's fragile energy lingering in his hands as he slowly stood up. The crowd began to disperse, relief and joy mingling with skepticism like the shadows creeping across the fading sunlight. He searched again for his father's gaze but found the older man had turned away, his shoulders stiff, a fortress built against any semblance of pride or affection. Alex's heart sank. The echoes of joy faded into a distant hum as doubt filtered back in. What if those who had begun to accept him instantly turned back? What if he remained an outsider in his own home? Alex. A voice cut through his worries. It was Ms. Thompson, the town librarian. She rushed forward, her eyes wide with gratitude. "What you did today, it was remarkable. You gave that little boy back to his mother." "Thank you," he stammered, still haunted by the memory of his father's silence. I did what I could." She squeezed his arm, her grip firm but gentle, a lifeline amidst his doubts. "No, you did more than that. You've shown everyone that there's magic in healing, real healing. They might not see it yet, but you have changed things here." Her words sparked something inside him, a flickering hope that maybe this moment could be a turning point. Perhaps healing the boy wasn't just about the child, maybe it was also about mending the frayed fabric that held Cedar Grove together. Taking a deep breath, he stepped deeper into the crowd, sensing an urgency to bridge the distance between him and those who remained skeptical. As he approached some familiar faces, he caught snippets of doubt. Just a fluke. He shouldn't have done that. The words hung heavy in the air. Yet Alex didn't retreat. Instead, he drew closer, ready to face their uncertainty head-on. Listen, he called out, raising his voice to cut through their whispers. What happened today was more than luck. It was belief. Love can change everything. This boy needs support, and if we stand together, Cedar Grove can become a place where everyone feels it. The murmurs fell silent. He could see surprise and a hint of reflection filtering across the faces of those who had doubted him. One woman, Mrs. Lewis, stepped forward, her brow furrowed. And what makes you think we can trust you, Alex? You've been gone so long. What do you really know about healing? The weight of her question hung between them like the thick clouds above. Alex's heart raced as anxiety clawed at his chest, but he pressed on. I know that healing isn't just about the medicine or spells. It's about understanding one another. About community. We all hide parts of ourselves, and it's time we stop. In that moment, he saw a flicker in Mrs. Lewis's eyes, a recognition of shared vulnerability. The crowd shifted, leaning in. Imagine a town where we all support each other through our pain, through our fears, Alex continued, his voice steadying. We can be vulnerable together. We can heal together. And then it happened. A lone clap erupted from the back, followed by another. Slowly the hesitant applause began to grow, echoing like the heartbeat of the community he longed to embrace. He felt a mixture of relief and disbelief wash over him, but uncertainty still tugged at his edges. Would this newfound acceptance hold? As the crowd began to disperse, the applause fading into the evening air, Alex turned back, half expecting to find his father still avoiding him. But instead, he met the man's gaze, which held something unexpected, an ache, a flicker of acknowledgement. Just for a moment, they connected across the distance that time and pride had created, but would that moment be enough to bridge the rift between them? As the stars began to prick the twilight, Alex's heart beat faster with an exhilarating fear. He had taken a step toward healing, but now he needed to take another, and his father's acceptance loomed like a mountain in his path. What would it take to break down that wall? Would he find the words to reach his father after all these years? The night wrapped itself around Cedar Grove, filled with unspoken questions and hearts full of hope as the future flickered just out of reach. The night deepened, a blanket of stars stretching over Cedar Grove, each twinkle an echo of hopes and dreams not yet realized. Alex lingered a moment longer in the square, its familiar sights now cast in the soft glow of street lamps. He could feel the pulse of the town, a steady thrum that intertwined with his own heartbeat. Fear and excitement danced within him. Could he really mend the bonds he'd broken, not just with his father, but maybe even with the town itself? He turned back to the bustling streets, caught between the comfort of the past and the uncertainty of the future. It was time to test the waters. He pulled out his phone, hesitating as he flipped through his contacts. The names blurred together until he landed on one that made his stomach twist. Sarah, an old friend, the girl who had once shared laughter and secrets under the same stars he gazed at now. Taking a deep breath, he pressed call. The ringing seemed to echo in the quiet night, each sound a reminder of the distance that had grown between them. When she answered, her voice was warm, yet questioned. Alex? Is that really you? Yeah, it's me, he replied, his heart racing at the sound of her voice. I wanted to talk. What followed was an awkward exchange, filled with stuttering words and unsteady laughter. But slowly, as seconds turned into minutes, the walls began to lower. Memories spilled like warmth from a once closed door, their favorite spots in town, the adventures they had shared. It was comforting, familiar, yet bittersweet, knowing he had missed so much. I heard about what you did today, she said, her tone shifting. It was brave, Alex. People are starting to see you again, maybe even believe in you. Hope bubbled up within him. I want to make things right, Sarah. I want to help Cedar Grove heal. There was a pause on the other end. Was she considering his words? Finally, she said, if anyone can do it, it's you. But you need to be real about it. You can't just say things and expect everyone to forget the past. You have to show them. A fire ignited in him. Closing his eyes, he imagined the town embracing their shared struggles. "I will. I promise to show my father." As their conversation continued, a plan began to take shape in his mind. Maybe if he started small, he could invite people to share their stories, their fears, their pain. It was the only way forward, the only way to reach his father. If he could create a safe space, a circle of vulnerability, they could all find healing together. After the call ended, Alex felt both lighter and heavier, a mix of anticipation and the weight of expectation. He stood outside for a moment, breathing in the cool night air. Cedar Grove had so much potential, and he knew now it was time to act. He would gather everyone, even if it started with just a few. What if he set up a community meeting at the library? Ms. Thompson would likely support him. He could share his vision of opening up a space for stories and healing. The thought filled him with warmth. But beneath that warmth was a simmering anxiety. Would his father attend? Would his father choose to step into the circle he was creating? As the last remnants of sunlight dipped below the horizon, uncertainty loomed again, but this time he felt less alone. Alex grabbed the sleeve of his jacket, taking a deep breath, commitment firming within him. He wouldn't shy away again. Not now. He would reach for connection, even if it terrified him. With a newfound determination, Alex turned, walking down the quiet streets. The stars above twinkled encouragingly. Tomorrow, he would take that leap. He would call a meeting, but as he rounded a corner, he spotted a figure standing alone, a man with an unmistakable silhouette. His father, standing beside the flickering streetlight. The tension in Alex's chest tightened. Would he step towards his father? Or retreat back into the shadows of doubt? As he hesitated, the night held its breath, waiting for the first brave step into the uncertain light. Alex's breath hitched as he took a small step forward. His father stood rigid, hands buried in his coat pockets, the flickering streetlight casting shadows across his weathered face. Years of silence loomed between them like an unbridgeable chasm, filled with words unsaid and pain unhealed. Alex felt a knot tightening in his throat, but this was it. This was his chance. "Dad?" he called, the word tasting foreign and heavy on his tongue. The man turned slowly. His eyes, once warm and inviting, now held uncertainty, a reflection of the tension they both felt. "Alex," he replied, a weighty silence hanging in the air. The acknowledgement felt like a tremor reverberating through both of them. "Can we talk?" Alex asked, his voice wavering but resolute. For a moment, his father just looked at him, as if assessing the sincerity that shone beneath Alex's nervous demeanor. Finally, he nodded, and they moved to a nearby bench, a familiar spot from Alex's childhood where they had shared laughs and ice cream on sweltering summer days. "I heard you're trying to bring people together." The meeting at the library, his father began cautiously, eyes still searching Alex's face for signs of the son he once knew. "Yeah," Alex said, excitement and anxiety swirling in the pit of his stomach. "I want to create a space for people to share their stories, to heal. I want to help Cedar Grove, and well, I want to connect with you too." His father's brow furrowed, a flicker of something regret, perhaps crossing his face. "You think it's that simple? Just because you want it doesn't mean everyone will step into the light. Remember how you left? How it hurt us?" A lump formed in Alex's throat. His heart raced as old wounds were laid bare. "I know," he whispered. "But I've spent too long running away from my mistakes. I want to make amends, not just with you, but with everyone. I need to face what I've done." His father's expression softened, revealing cracks in the armor he had built over the years. "This town, it's been through a lot. So have we." Each word was carefully chosen, laden with memories of heartache. "Why do you think I would trust you again?" "Because I'm ready to show you, to show everyone. Trust takes time and I'm willing to fight for it," Alex said, his voice shaking but firm. "I won't give up this time." Paul searched his son's eyes, seeking something that had been missing for too long. "I hope you understand how hard this is." "I do, Dad. I really do," Alex replied, determination coursing through him. But I'm done hiding. I want to bring the community together like it once was, and I want to do it with you by my side. Silence enveloped them as his father considered Alex's words. The night deepened around them, the stars glinting like distant promises. Finally, Paul exhaled, a heavy breath filled with decades of disappointment and remnants of love. I'll come to your meeting. Joy flooded through Alex, but there was fear too. Could this really mark the beginning of something new between them? You will. Yeah. But you need to remember, it may take time for both of us. You'll have to prove it, his father said, a hint of a hopeful smile breaking through. As they shared tentative smiles, the air began to feel lighter, bridges no longer just dreams but real possibilities. Maybe tomorrow wouldn't be so daunting after all. Alex felt the excitement of the upcoming meeting mingling with the fear of potential rejection. But there was a new sense of hope blossoming within him. Let us start fresh, he finally said, feeling the warmth of renewed connection. As they lingered in that moment, a voice echoed from deeper in the darkness behind them, shattering their fragile peace. Alex? Is that you? Both men turned in unison, the uncertainty of the voice igniting a new tension as they regarded the shadowy figure emerging from the night. Who had come to interrupt this fragile moment of reconnection? What secrets or old wounds would this encounter unveil? Alex's heart raced, adrenaline surging through his veins. The figure stepped into the pale glow of the streetlight, revealing a familiar face. Lila, his childhood friend and the one person who knew him better than most. She looked older, more solemn, and yet there was a hint of relief in her eyes at seeing him. Lila? He breathed, almost in disbelief that she had appeared. Memories flooded back, of laughter by the creek and secrets whispered behind a tall oak tree. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice a mix of astonishment and concern. As if the distance of years fell away, they both felt the weight of shared history pressing down on them. I was just talking to my dad, he replied, glancing sideways at his father, whose expression was a blend of confusion and curiosity. Alex felt a surge of vulnerability wash over him. I'm trying to fix things for both of us. Lila's gaze shifted to Paul, and Alex could see the processing happening in her mind. I heard about the meeting. You're trying to bring people together. Her tone was supportive yet cautious. Yeah, I think Cedar Grove needs it, he said, feeling the urge to explain further. We all need to come together and talk about what has happened, what we've lost. Paul shifted in his seat, tension evident in his posture. It's not as simple as it sounds. People might not want to face the past. Lila's eyes softened as she stepped closer, her voice lowering. Sometimes, facing the truth can feel like stepping into a storm. But it can also be the beginning of healing. The sincerity in her words touched Alex. He felt the shared pain of their childhood bubble to the surface. I don't want to run from it anymore. I want to be here to help. Lila nodded, but Alex noticed the shadow of worry on her face. What if opening old wounds causes more harm than good? Then maybe we learn to deal with the pain, Alex replied, his voice steadier now. I've hidden long enough. We all have. But if we don't try, nothing will ever change. Paul's eyes flicked to Lila before returning to Alex, studying the determination on his son's face. In that moment, Alex saw a flicker of understanding pass between them, a silent acknowledgement that he was no longer the boy who had run away. I'll join the meeting, Lila said suddenly, breaking the tension. If you're serious about this, I want to help. Alex's heart soared at her words. He had missed her so much, their friendship, their dreams of a brighter future. It felt like another piece of his past was falling into place. You will. It means a lot to me. Paul sighed, leaning back, as if the weight of the world was still heavy on his shoulders. Just know, this will take time for all of us. Each person has their own battles to fight. I understand, Alex said, feeling a warmth engulf him at the prospect of rekindling connections. But we have to start somewhere. As they all stood beneath the flickering streetlight, the darkness around them felt a little less daunting, like the first glimmer of dawn peeking over the horizon after a long, cold night. "What do we do now?" Lila asked. Alex smiled, feeling hope coursing through him again. "Now, we prepare for the meeting. We gather our courage and let ourselves be seen." But just as hope blossomed, a loud crash shattered the calm, echoing through the quiet street. All three turned toward the sound, dread creeping in anew. Whatever lay ahead in that meeting, he knew it wouldn't come without challenges yet. Beneath the surface, he sensed a deeper truth. Real healing was waiting just beyond the fear. What had caused that noise, and would it change everything? The sound echoed again, louder this time, a clatter of metal on concrete, followed by hushed voices. Instinctively, Alex's stomach dropped, the pulse of fear slithering back into his veins. It felt like a reminder that challenges lurked everywhere, waiting to pounce. What was that? Lila's voice trembled slightly, her eyes wide and searching. "I don't know," Alex said, shaking his head. "But we should check it out." Paul frowned, his protective nature flickering to life. "You two stay put. I'll take a look." "No." Alex insisted, surprising himself with the urgency in his voice. "We're in this together. If it's something serious, we can't just let it be." Lila stepped forward, nodding in agreement. "We can't turn back now. We have to know." They moved slowly, instinctively drawing closer together. A few steps down the street, they saw a group of teenagers loitering near the toppled trash can, the remnants of whatever had crashed spilling across the pavement. One of them swore as he picked up a frame what looked like a broken mirror. "Hey!" one of the boys shouted as he spotted the trio approaching, his bravado masking any real concern. "What were you looking at?" Alex hesitated, sensing a brewing tension in the air. "We heard the crash. Is everyone okay?" "That's just one of our friends being an idiot," the boy said, rolling his eyes. "He knocked over the can." Just then, another voice piped up from the sidelines, softer but filled with a pain Alex recognized. "You don't understand. It's not just trash, it's what people throw away." The words hit him hard. He turned, finding a girl standing back from the others, her posture closed off, eyes filled with a mixture of hurt and defiance. She was someone he didn't know, but something about her presence made him want to step closer. "What do you mean?" "People put their lives in the trash," she said resolutely. "Their memories, their hopes, like this glass." She pointed at the mirror fragments scattered at their feet. "When you break something like this, it can hurt. But if you look closely, you can find beauty in the shards." Alex felt an unexpected connection to her words, echoing the conversation they just had under the streetlight. "We're all trying to fix our pieces," he said quietly. "Healing starts with taking a long, hard look at what has been broken." The boys exchanged glances, the bravado of their earlier facade slipping slightly. Lila stepped forward, her voice soothing, "Maybe we can help each other put the pieces back together." The girl considered the offer, tilting her head slightly. "You think you can?" "People don't usually stick around when they hear the real story." "We want to hear it," Alex replied, his heart racing from a mix of vulnerability and determination. "We're holding a meeting tomorrow. A chance for everyone to share what they want. You can come. We want to start this journey together." The girl studied him, skepticism etched across her face. Yet, something in Alex's earnestness flickered hope. As they returned to their spot beneath the streetlight, the adrenaline faded, replaced by a simmering anticipation. The first steps toward healing already felt both exciting and daunting. "Tomorrow could change everything," Lila said, her voice tinged with optimism, but also uncertainty. "Yeah," Alex agreed, a knot of anxiety twisting in his stomach. "But we've got to be ready for whatever it takes." Yet as they stood there, the shadows loomed larger than before. The girl's words echoed, "Sometimes beauty was found in brokenness." That echo wrapped around him, reminding him of the daunting task ahead, and just then, a distant cry pierced the night air, sending a chill down Alex's spine. The urgent call was followed by silence, a wordless plea hanging in the air. What had happened out there? Would their quest for healing uncover truths they weren't ready for? The silence that followed felt heavy, wrapping around Alex and his friends like an unwelcome fog. Lila shifted nervously, her fingers twisting in the fabric of her jacket, while Paul stared into the darkness, his protective instincts on high alert. The shadows of the night seemed to pulse with a promise of secrets waiting to be unearthed. Maybe we should check it out, Paul suggested, his voice low. Alex took a deep breath, adrenaline surging. He felt that pull, that strange mix of dread and curiosity. What if someone needs help? He asked, glancing at Lila. After a brief exchange of glances, Lila nodded, her determination igniting. Yeah, we can't just ignore it. Let us go. They moved cautiously, every step feeling like an echo of the unknown. The group of teenagers had dispersed, but the distant cry lingered, a haunting melody dancing through the cool air. As they ventured further into the darkness, Alex's heart raced, a rhythm of fear and thrill. Suddenly, Lila stopped. Did you hear that? A mix of rustling and muffled sounds pierced the stillness, pulling them toward an alleyway bathed in the dim glow of a flickering streetlight. It felt alive, whispering tales of hidden stories and broken dreams. Alex's gut twisted. What if it's trouble? Or it's someone in trouble, Lila countered, her resolve unwavering. Before Alex could take another step, a young boy stumbled into the light. His clothes were torn, a mixture of dirt and tears staining his cheeks. He looked lost, as if he had just merged from a world of shadows into this small beam of illumination. Help me! He shouted, desperation clawing at his voice. Paul rushed to the boy, crouching down to meet his frightened gaze. What happened? They took him. My brother. The boy's eyes were wide, glistening with fear, and Alex felt the words strike deep. Who took him? Alex asked, feeling the weight of responsibility shifting onto his shoulders. I don't know. They just grabbed him. The boy's sobs came in ragged gasps. He didn't even fight. They told him to come. I tried but they pushed me away. Lila knelt beside Paul, her hand resting gently on the boy's back. We're going to help you, okay? First, we need to know where they went. The boy hesitated, glancing between them. By the old mill, the broken one, down by the river. The word sent a ripple of urgency through the group. Alex locked eyes with Paul, an unspoken understanding coursing between them. This wasn't just a chance to help, it was a path to confront their own demons wrapped in the cloak of rescue. Paul nodded. We need to go now. Stay close. They set off, adrenaline fueling their strides as they sprinted toward the river. The world around them blurred, urgency fueling their resolve. Wild thoughts raced through Alex's mind. How had it come to this? A single night, a single encounter, and their lives were already shifting. They were no longer just four friends seeking some closure, they had become part of something far greater. As they neared the old mill, a sense of foreboding hung in the air. Would they find the boy's brother? Or would they witness the darkness lurking just below the surface of their seemingly quiet town? What awaited them could change everything, but they couldn't turn back now. Not when the cries of someone in deep need echoed in their hearts. With a deep breath, Alex stepped into the shadows of the mill, ready to face whatever awaited them. There was no going back now. Hope we're ready for this, he murmured, each step feeling like a promise entwined with fear. Would they emerge unscathed, or would they be left questioning their very existence once more? The darkness inside the mill swallowed them whole. Shadows danced along the crumbling walls, and the air was thick with the scent of damp wood and rust. Each step echoed in their ears, amplifying the tension that wound tighter with every heartbeat. Alex led the way, his mind racing. What if we're too late, he thought. But the warmth of Lila's presence beside him kept him grounded. Paul brought up the rear, a watchful protector ready to spring into action at the first sign of danger. The boy trailed behind, his small frame shaking with fear and hope, uncertainty written all over his face. "Stay close," Paul whispered reassuringly to him. In the dim light, they spotted a doorway ahead, half hidden by debris. Alex felt a rush of urgency. They couldn't afford any more delays. They had to find this boy's brother. With a swift push, he opened the door, revealing a narrow staircase that spiraled down into a deeper darkness. "Are you sure?" Lila asked, her voice wavering. "We have to," Alex said, his voice steadier than he felt. With a hesitant nod, they descended the stairs, the faint sounds of their footsteps replaced by an unsettling quiet. As they reached the bottom, they found themselves in an underground chamber, its walls slick with moisture and laden with shadows. In the center lay a lone flickering bulb, casting an eerie glow that illuminated a chilling scene. Tangled in chains, a boy barely older than 12 sat hunched over, fear etched across his face. His eyes widened with confusion and relief as he met the gaze of his brother, who rushed to him, tears of relief mixing with the beginning of panic. "Sam," the younger boy cried, rushing forward. "Wait!" Alex blurted out, grabbing at the boy's arm. "We need to be careful." The air thickened with tension as they scanned the chamber for any signs of danger. But it was quiet, too quiet. Then came a low growl from the shadows, and the group froze. Out of the darkness, a figure loomed tall and menacing, noise echoing with every step it took. Its worn leather jacket hanging loosely over its body, revealing a tattooed arm that flexed as it approached. "Looks like we got some unwanted visitors," the voice was gravelly, filled with malice. Fear surged through Alex, and he turned to Paul, whose fists were clenched, ready to fight. Lila braced herself, standing protectively between the boys and the stranger, her eyes blazing. "Let them go!" Lila shouted, her voice shaking but resolute. The figure smirked. "You don't know what you're asking for, kid." Alex's heart thundered. They were outmatched, but surrender wasn't an option. With no choice but to act, he threw a glance at Paul. "We need a distraction." Paul nodded, stepping forward. "We're not afraid of you. You'll let them go, or you'll have to deal with us." The figure laughed, a sound that sent chills down Alex's spine. "You're brave, I'll give you that. But bravery doesn't always save lives." In that moment, he could almost feel the weight of impending danger press against him. Would they find a way to rescue the brothers, or would they fall victim to the darkness lurking beyond them? The next moments hung like a pendulum, teetering between hope and despair. Alex's breath caught in his throat, and he knew, deep down, that everything was about to change. "Stand your ground," he urged, even as uncertainty gnawed at him. The confrontation loomed like a storm cloud, ready to break. How far would they go to save a life? Just how much were they willing to risk? The air crackled with tension, each heartbeat resonating like a drum. Alex felt the weight of the moment settle onto his shoulders. They were outnumbered, but he was determined. "We have to act together," he whispered to Lila and Paul. "Let them go." Paul growled, his voice steady, portraying strength even amidst their fear. The stranger's laughter bounced off the chamber walls, but Alex sensed something within himself ignite, a spark fueled by the belief that they could overcome. The boy, Sam, looked up, eyes wide with terror. "Please," he whimpered, glancing back at his brother. "I just wanted to go home." "Get ready," Alex whispered, his pulse racing. "On 3. They huddled together, an unbreakable unit against the menace that loomed. The figure spoke again, his tone dripping with condescension. "You think you can take me? This isn't a fairy tale, kid." "That's where you're wrong," said Lila, as fierce as she was afraid. "Because together, we all have magic." Like filmmakers capturing the moment, silence fell. They faced the horrible figure with a blend of fear and courage, and in that instant, everything changed. "Now!" Alex yelled, and they pounced. Paul charged in, distracting the intruder just long enough for Lila and Alex to reach Sam. "Hold on!" Alex shouted, loosening the chains binding him. The boy winced at first, but when the cuffs gave way, he propelled into a hug with his little brother, overflowing with relief. They could hear their captor's enraged footsteps approaching. "Get back here!" he bellowed, the fury masking the fear that shook him, his bravado evaporating like morning fog. With the brothers freed, Alex turned back, adrenaline surging. Lila and Paul readied themselves in front of Sam as their adversary lunged forward, ferocity evident on his face. "You can't enough!" Alex shouted, a mix of fear and defiance surging through him. All the pain he had hidden, all the years of silence flowed into his voice. "You're not taking anyone else." In that charged moment, as if the universe granted them clarity, Paul charged with an unexpected finesse, pinning the figure against the damp wall. "This ends here. You're done." His grip was unyielding, a testament to a father's determination. Lila stood firm, steadying the brothers next to her, determined not to let fear weave its tissues around them again. No more hiding, no more pain. As the stranger's bravado waned under their unity, Alex stepped closer, his heart pounding. "Let them go, and you can walk away. No more harm, no more violence. Choose strength, not weakness." There was a raw courage in his plea, like a candle in the dark. The figure's eyes flickered with uncertainty, the aggression melting as the realization of the community's resolve became tangible. "You think you can change things?" He spat, yet the conviction in his tone now trembled. "Yes, we can," Alex asserted clearly, power rising in him like a tidal wave. "By believing in each other. By healing." Paul tightened his grip, and with one last fleeting moment of hope, the figure backed down, the fire flickering from his eyes replaced by a flash of realizations. "I'm done with this." As the man retreated into the shadows, the atmosphere shifted, the weight of the darkness lifted, leaving behind a bright space filled with possibility. The brothers exchanged shaky glances, eyes shimmering with a hope they hadn't believed possible moments before. "Are you two okay?" Lila bent down to meet them, pulling them into a gentle embrace. "We thought we lost each other," Sam whispered, burying his face into her shoulder. A wave of relief washed over Alex as he soaked in the unity, the kind of connection he longed to build with his own father and the broader community. "Let us get you home," Paul said gently, standing tall, a father again. Together, they navigated through the shadows of the mill, side by side, the brothers in the center of a newfound family. The air felt lighter as they emerged into the world outside, the night still dark, but illuminated by tiny stars twinkling overhead. "I'm so proud of you," Paul turned to Alex, softness breaking through. "Years of tension. You showed courage tonight." Tears welled in Alex's eyes. "I think we're just beginning." As they walked toward town, the echoes of their bravery spurred them on, a community woven together by love, ready to finally embrace the broken pieces and heal them. With each step forward, they built bridges to their neighbors, allowing vulnerability to intertwine their stories. It was only the first of many meetings. They would share not just at the library but in living rooms, backyards, and coffee shops. As a community, they would confront the shame, the fear, and the loss, but also the hope. They would grow together, one heartbeat at a time, and in Cedar Grove, beneath the unyielding sky, transformation became palpable, alive in the stories they began to weave together. The night felt electric with possibility, a dawn breaking on a new chapter, not just for Alex, but for Cedar Grove. This is the end of one journey, but just the beginning of so many more. Don't wait, not even one more second. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change and hope. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm so we can keep sharing these journeys together. Comment below your feelings about the ending. What transformation struck you most? Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this spark of change. Your support makes all the difference.